I'm Carolyn Klaus, President of the League of Women Voters of Ames and Story County. The mission of the League is to educate and motivate our community to engage in civic matters. This video was developed to help inform you and all Iowans about the voting process and the role of our county auditors. Our goal is for everyone to have a better understanding of the process and to increase ease with participation in the process. We hope this video gives assurance that you can have confidence in our elections.
Hello, I'm Hawk County Auditor and Commissioner of Elections Grant Veeder, here to talk about voting absentee. Voters in Iowa may vote prior to a pending election in a number of ways by casting an absentee ballot. They may vote by mail, in person at the county auditor's office, or in person at a satellite voting location. To preserve the integrity and accuracy of the election, there are many safeguards that county auditors must put in place by law. So let's talk about how to vote absentee and how the system protects those votes. Everyone who votes absentee needs to make written application to the county auditor. Here's the form provided by the Iowa Secretary of State's office. You don't have to use this form, but you have to provide nearly everything on the form, so you might as well use it. You can find it on the Secretary of State's website, or you can ask your county auditor to send you the form. Be sure to fill out every highlighted field. If you don't, your auditor will have to contact you for the missing information before they can send you a ballot. The first day to send a ballot request to the auditor is 70 days before the election. When the auditor receives your request, they will note it on your voter registration record. Iowa has a statewide voter registration system maintained by the Secretary of State. You must be registered to vote in order to request a ballot. And once you have requested a ballot, the system won't let you request another ballot for the same election. 20 days before the election, the auditor will mail ballots to everyone who has requested them to that point. The auditor will continue to receive absentee ballot request forms and send out ballots until 15 days before the election. No requests for absentee ballots received after that date will be honored. Also starting 20 days before the election, registered voters can vote an absentee ballot in person at the county auditor's office. You will fill out the same request form, and it will be entered into the same statewide voter registration database. Absentee voting is available at the auditor's office through the day before the election. One more thing starts 20 days before the election: satellite voting, which is voting absentee ballots in person at a site other than the auditor's office. This only occurs if the auditor receives a petition with at least 100 signatures calling for a satellite voting station at a particular location. It must be done with the consent of the owner of the location, and the location must meet accessibility standards. Satellite voting is also permissible through the day before the election. If you're voting by mail, the auditor must receive your request form no later than 15 days before the election. For primary and general elections, the Secretary of State will publish a daily report starting 20 days before the election, showing for each county how many ballots were requested, how many were sent to voters, and how many were returned to the auditor, plus how they were returned: by mail, by drop box, by hand, by voting in person at a satellite location. Let's talk about returning absentee ballots. When you receive your ballot, it will come with detailed instructions. I know it looks like a lot, but you want your vote to count, right? So follow the instructions. Be sure to sign and seal your ballot envelope. All absentee ballots must be returned to the auditor by the close of the polls on Election Day, which is 8:00 p.m. There are several ways to return absentee ballots, but some of them have very specific rules that voters need to be clear about. You can return an absentee ballot yourself by putting it in the mail, hand delivering it to the auditor's office, or putting it in a specially designated ballot drop box, if one is available in your county. You may also have someone else return your ballot for you, but the law strictly limits who is allowed to do that. These limitations are new in the law, so voters need to pay close attention to them. You may have an immediate family member return your ballot for you, or someone who is living in your household. These people can return your ballot just like you would, by mail, by hand, or by drop box. There is an exception to these rules in the case of voters who are unable to return a ballot due to blindness or other disability. If you are such a voter, you may ask a delivery agent to return your ballot. There are strict limitations on delivery agents. To find out more about them, contact your county auditor. There are other exceptions to some of these requirements for people in certain situations, such as residents of healthcare facilities, uniformed and overseas voters, and voters involved in Iowa's Safe at Home program. If you are in one of these categories and want more information, contact your county auditor. All absentee ballots must be returned to the auditor's office by 8:00 p.m. on Election Day. The receipt of ballots is entered into the voter registration system to prevent the voter from voting on Election Day. Absentee ballots are securely stored before, during, and after counting. They are counted on Election Day, although counting may start the day before, if necessary, to be finished by 10:00 p.m. on Election Day. No results may be released until the close of the polls. The ballots are counted by the Absentee and Special Voter Precinct Board, which for partisan elections may have no more than a simple majority of one party over the other. Parties, candidates, and groups involved with public measures may have representatives present to witness the counting of the absentee ballots. The Absentee and Special Voter Precinct Board must record and reconcile at the end of each of its sessions the number of signed affidavits, the number of ballots rejected or challenged, and the number of ballots accepted for counting. When counting is completed, the board provides its results to the county auditor, who then reports the absentee totals as a separate precinct total with the overall results. That's absentee voting in a nutshell. Remember, if you're voting by mail, we need to receive your request form no later than 15 days before the election in order to send you a ballot. We need the ballot back by 8 p.m. on election night in order for it to count. Be sure to sign and seal your ballot envelope, also required to make it count. Questions? Contact the auditor in your county. We work for you.